My brothers and sisters, today, 25th April, is the feast of Saint Mark the Evangelist. Our readings are taken from the first letter of Peter, chapter 5, verses 5 to 14. And from the Gospel of Mark, chapter 16, verses 15 to 20. It is believed that Mark is the one who is mentioned in Acts chapter 5, verse 3. He is also mentioned by Paul in his letters to the Colossians, chapter 4, verse 10, but also the second letter to Timothy, chapter 4, verse 11, and finally the letter to the Philippians, chapter 1, verse 24. Now, Mark accompanied Paul and Peter in the missionary activity. He accompanied Paul in his first missionary journey, as we can read this in Acts chapter 13, verse 13. Mark had also a very close relationship with Saint Peter, as we can see this in today's first reading from the first letter of Saint Peter. In this reading, Saint Peter calls Mark my son Mark. Now, it is believed that the Gospel of Mark is a short summary of the preaching of Peter about the life of Jesus, his passion, death, and resurrection. Mark was apparently the secretary of Peter, and he wrote down his sermons in a book which is today the Gospel of Mark. There are some scholars who think even that this Gospel of Mark should be called the Gospel of Peter. In today's Gospel, after talking about the appearances of Jesus, Mark reminds the disciples of the great mandate of the risen Jesus to them. Go to the whole world and preach the gospel to the whole creation. For Mark, the salvation of people will depend on their believing in the good news preached to them by the apostles. He who believes and is baptized will be saved, but he who does not believe will be condemned, says Mark. Jesus pointed out some signs on which one can recognize the true witnesses of his name. Among other signs, he said, they will cast out devils, this meaning that they will fight against all structures of evil which dehumanize human beings. They will speak, he said, also a new language. This will be, of course, the language of love, as they will be caring for one another without discrimination. They will drink poison and it will not, and they will not be harmed by it. This is an image, this is one of the images to show that the disciples will not be influenced or poisoned by things which break the relationships between persons. They will avoid all things that poison and destroy life in their Christian community. They will not be harmed by the poison of things like gossiping, lying, tribalism, racism, and so on and so forth. That they will pick up also snakes in their hands and not be beaten. This shows that God will be constantly on their side to protect them and save them from any danger. Finally, they will lay their hands on the sick who will recover. The baptized will cure the sick in their midst. They will become a new community where people take care of one another. A special care will be given to the needy, especially the sick people of their community. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.